Welcome to the Joy Lab podcast, where we help you uncover and foster your most joyful self. Your hosts, Dr. Henry Emmons and Dr. Aimee Prasek, bring you the ideal mix of soulful and scientifically sound tools to spark your joy, even when it feels dark. When you're ready to experiment with more joy, combine this podcast with the full Joy Lab program over at joylab.coach.
Hello, I'm Henry Emmons, and welcome back to Joy Lab.
And I'm Aimee Prasek. So this month we have been exploring our element of curiosity. And next month, very soon, we will get into our element of awe. And I love how these elements work together. Curiosity is inherent in awe. So you'll get like little hints of awe throughout today's episode. And then next month, you'll get lots of it. But today, I want to get into something a little bit more specific about an aspect of curiosity that has to do with our motivations. And to start, I want to anchor us with some wisdom from Albert Einstein. This comes from one of Einstein's essays, The World as I See It. Here it is. The most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious. It is the fundamental emotion that stands at the cradle of true art and true science. Whoever does not know it and can no longer wonder, no longer marvel, is as good as dead, and their eyes are dimmed. So it's kind of a big statement, right? The ability to approach and hold mystery, curiosity, and awe, that without those things, Einstein says that we are as good as dead. And I think he's right. So I don't think he was being too big with that statement. But I do think perhaps that by dead, he mostly means depressed, just going through the motions, disconnected, cut off from who we are and the world around us. The research absolutely supports this. Lower levels of curiosity are associated with higher levels of depression. And practicing awe can reduce depressive symptoms and improve well-being. But even more literally, we are wired for curiosity and awe, like as survival tools. So to adapt and change with our environment, we need curiosity. To build bonds that promote our survival, we need curiosity and awe. So we need those elements to do those things. Henry, do you have more to add here, maybe from that Einstein quote or these elements?
Yeah, the part of the quote that jumped out at me is what comes after he says that he's as good as dead. He goes on to say, and their eyes are dimmed. And that line reminds me of a book that really had a big impact on me when I was young, even though at that age, and even still, I barely understand what it meant. But when I was in my early 20s during medical school, I used to go on retreats periodically at a Trappist monastery in Iowa, of all places. I wasn't Catholic, but I was just really drawn to the contemplative lifestyle. We talked about this in a recent episode, Aimee, and it was really fun to make that connection that both of us in our youth, we were kind of taken with the idea of going and living in a monastery.
Wild. Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
But anyway, they had a book in their library that just caught my eye. It was called The Cloud of Unknowing. The Cloud of Unknowing, which was written way back in the 14th century. I think it's considered a spiritual classic, but I don't believe it's known who actually wrote it. So as I recall, through the mist of 40 years, the cloud is kind of like Einstein's description that the eyes are dimmed. And it's as if there is a veil between us and the infinite, the great mystery. And this veil keeps us from seeing what's true at a deeper level, what's real. And the gist of the book, as I recall, is that we cannot see through this veil with our rational minds. we can only see through it by unknowing, by not thinking too much, but just being open to presence, the great presence, if you will. And I think that's what's so amazing about Einstein's quote, because he is the very symbol of a strong scientific mind. And yet, here he is talking about the mysterious as the most beautiful experience we can have.
Yeah. The Cloud of Unknowing. I'm adding that to my book list.
Tell me what it means when you read it.
Well, just maybe from your description here, I just love being reminded too that stepping back from so many of our assumptions and expectations is not only one of the most courageous things I think we can do on a daily basis, but that it opens us up to, well, this space of knowing that we can't describe, that isn't necessarily in the realm of logic or what we can research and sort of grab onto with our hands or teeth. There's something bigger about it. And that feels good when we're sort of bombarded by information constantly. We feel like we have to take it all in all the time and have a opinion about every piece of it. Mm-hmm. And that's not the critical thinking. Einstein was a critical thinker, right? These things can happen together. That feels really good.
Yeah.
I love that. So I think also our motivations can actually help us here, like checking in with them. Our motivations for curiosity can help us step into that space of unknowing. That takes a lot of courage. So checking in with our motivations, understanding why are we curious, really? What is fueling our curiosity? And in the research, this is sometimes called motivations for information-seeking behavior. So what are we motivated by? And a lot of the research here is a little bit more sort of evolutionary. So they're looking at why are we curious, the drivers of curiosity that may have evolved to support our survival. But I think it's really important for us to consider, when it comes to our mental health, what is driving our curiosity? And to realize that we have a say here. If we don't think the motivation is helpful, then we can shift it. And I think this can be really simple to kind of check in on this. We can determine if our curiosity is motivated by curiosity to learn or a curiosity to confirm. It's kind of a fixed versus open mindset. Mm-hmm. So I think this is important because it is super easy to approach curiosity with the motivation of confirmation. We can go through some of the motions of curiosity, researching on the internet, asking a few people in our circle, maybe with the motivation of confirming something we already believe. And that motivation for curiosity, I think that's what Einstein would say dims our eyes. We can come away saying, I did my research, but we really didn't do it with curiosity. We did it with the end already settled, and we just kind of put some mush in the middle to make ourselves feel better. And I'm not coming at folks with this. I lean towards this. I'm very good at it. I can give you a lot of mush for something that I've already believed. It's part of what we talked about with uncertainty. So sometimes when we feel that uncertainty and maybe we're a little low on the tolerance at a given point, it can feel really good to just kind of stuff some mush in there. So, we might find ourselves being super externally curious, just like a lot of frenetic outward activity that feels like curiosity. But again, just actually working to confirm an original belief that we've already had to make something just kind of feel a little bit better if it's felt uncomfortable, which I think is tangible method of worrying. It's like worrying with receipts, with a paper trail. If you just do some sort of frenetic internet research and such. So go back to the worrying episode. I'll link it in the show notes. We can kind of trick ourselves into thinking that type of worrying or curiosity might be beneficial. So I have to check myself with this. And I think this is where awe can come in a big way. We can back off of some of our desire for getting certainty or, trying to find an answer, a concrete answer. And we can instead let awe fuel some of that curiosity. And so just so that we have a handle here, I'm going to describe awe, define it. Awe is this feeling, the experience that we have when we might witness something that kind of feels bigger than ourselves and something that might feel mysterious, or it might even challenge our usual understanding of the world. So that kind of motivation, that kind of awe can really open up our curiosity in a way that can shift us out of confirmation bias. And then it can help us get through some of the discomfort of uncertainty as well when we're kind of tapped into that sense of awe. And then it actually supports our growth and our well-being.
I'm intrigued by something you said earlier, this notion that we can somehow satisfy our curiosity by researching on the internet.
I don't know if I said that. I've tried that. I mean, sometimes it's a slippery slope.
Well, since we're talking about motivation,
Yeah.
I think it's fair to bring in the topic of the brain's motivation system, of which dopamine is a big part.
Oh, you're going to tell us more about researching on the internet and how that works in our brain, Henry, I'm guessing?
I don't think I really need to, because I think we know.
What WebMD does to us?
Oh, well, just what clickbait does to
go.
us.
Yeah.
So
let's hear it.
the two most addicting things I can think of, aside from hard drugs, are things that impact dopamine immediately. And one of those is nicotine. And I think the other one is clicking on and really it is kind of about that confirmation bias, or
Absolutely.
It's that need to get, and also it's just quick gratification. It's wanting to know immediately. Yeah. And I think the people who write these articles with such catchy titles absolutely know this. And so, we are trained. We have trained ourselves, and we've been trained by others to kind of need that next hit. And we get it every time we do this. It seems like it's something new and fresh, but it's really not.
Yeah. And
I do wonder what this is doing to our curiosity. I think it diminishes it. I'm thinking about every Saturday morning, I sit with a group of friends over coffee, and there can be up to 10 or 12 of us there. And we have these wide-ranging, often kind of heady discussions. And then invariably, we come up against a question that no one actually knows the answer to. Some of us might attempt to give an answer or think that we know.
Yeah.
But after a few of these feeble attempts, invariably, someone will say something like, if only there was a way to find out. And then everybody laughs and somebody pulls out their phone or iPad and looks it up. It's just classic.
Yeah.
But, there are a couple things about curiosity that I think this conversation is getting at that I just really believe are important. One of them has to do with why curiosity is so good for the brain. And I believe that requires just a little bit of discomfort, a genuine effort to resolve whatever it is that you're curious about, whatever has really got you going. That's very motivating. Part of it is you're motivated because it bothers you, or you're somehow compelled by not knowing. But also, there's something almost magical that happens in the brain once you do resolve it, which is so good for making those neural connections and helping these new brain cells to grow. I mean, it's absolutely, this is the sort of the miracle grow moment for the brain. we create a little bit of distress, and then through some hard-won effort, we resolve it. We find an answer, we solve the puzzle, whatever it is, and it is so gratifying. And that gratification means that it's a big reward experience. That's what gives us a deeper, more lasting motivation, I think. And I do think it's that motivation to learn that you talked about, not just to confirm or try to get a quick and easy answer. But the other thing I wanted to say about curiosity, it goes back to that Einstein quote that you started with. It seems to me that there is a common theme in many of the wisdom traditions that says something to the effect of most of us human beings basically being asleep. That we're basically living in a dream world of our own creation. And the goal then of a spiritual path is really to wake up from that dream, to see through the mist or the cloud of unknowing, so to speak. And when we do that, what do we see? Well, it's a mystery, isn't it? Einstein believed that the ultimate mystery was not meant to be understood intellectually. And personally, I'm okay with that. We can know something without intellectually understanding it. And to me, that's the essence of deep curiosity and genuine awe. I think that's where they meet.
Your story about coffee made me think as well, and just on this note too, with this, how curiosity isn't meant to bring us to a concrete answer, but our phones do. We have in some of my circles, we have a rule that if you can't remember it, nobody can look it up. And
I'm going to try that.
It is very uncomfortable at first, like a song. This happened recently. We could not remember a name of a song or something. And inevitably, somebody pulls out the phone. We're like, nope. We're going to work on this. And so as a group, we kind of go through this process of curiosity. Ultimately, we came to a story when these were friends from long ago in middle school, where one of our friends used to pretend to be Alanis Morissette. It was this whole big thing. And she'd sing Jagged Little Pill, and we were like obsessed with it. And we were just cracking up together, just laughing, imagining, now her singing Alanis Morissette, and then she broke into song. It's like this whole thing. It was so beautiful, and it was awe. Like, we were together. We were building connection, and we were in joy together. We were in laughter. It was so beautiful. We never figured out the name of that song that we started with. But by that point, we had created sort of this journey together that was really beautiful. And I think just kind of what you described there with the understanding that there might not be a concrete answer, and maybe that's the point. And that feels really good when you can explore it with people too, I think. So this is such a fun practice. Maybe try it with your friends to step into a little bit of discomfort as a group, and then get curious together and see kind of where that takes you.
I love that.
She's going to kill me. I'm not going to say her name. She's going to kill me if I say her name. So nobody's going to bother her to sing Alanis Morissette. So yeah, we'll be moving into awe next month for our podcast and our program. So join us at the program if you're not already. Stay tuned with us here at the podcast as well as we explore awe, these connections, this element of joy that I think just feels really good and that we can experience every day, just like curiosity. So I want to close us with more Einstein. Here it is. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. One cannot help but be in awe when they contemplate the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery every day. Never lose a holy curiosity.
Thank you for listening to the Joy Lab podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, visit joylab.coach to learn more about the full Joy Lab program. Be sure to rate and review us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Please remember that this content is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended to provide medical advice and is not a replacement for advice and treatment from a medical professional. Please consult your doctor or other qualified health professional before beginning any diet change, supplement, or lifestyle program. Please see our terms for more information.